Hey guys, how you doing? I'm doing all right. I think I'm going to feel better soon. In this video, I'm going to address another issue that Democrats have been whining about for the past few years about Trump, and that is his pussy remark. Okay, and that was on tape over 10 years ago. And what I find interesting about that is he acknowledged it and apologized on live TV. Okay. And this occurred during the debates. Okay. And this is how much they hated the man. Even before he was elected, they want to take him down even before November turnout, before the November votes. So they dug up some old tape and they tried to make it relevant. So now, and there are people who still hang on to this. Now, he apologizes. Okay, in the Jewish tradition, the word sin in Hebrew comes from a term of archery, missing the mark. That we're always trying to hit that moral bullseye. And when we miss that moral bullseye, okay, it's called a moral failing and it's called a sin. So we acknowledge the sin. So atonement and repentance for when we do wrong and when we wrong others is to acknowledge the sin, feel remorse for the sin, and the more intense the better. Okay, you feel real remorse. And then a determination of vow to do better. And that, in fact, is the way the Kol Nidre on the eve of Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, articulates that. That the Kol Nidre is chanted 3 times. The first time is a simple chanting. That represents acknowledging the sin we committed. Then it's chanted the second time. And during that second time, it's chanted with angst. Okay, real intense angst. That represents our feeling remorse for the sin we committed. And then the third time it's recited with strength and vim and vigor and power. And that represents our determination to do better. Okay, that is the process of atonement for your sins. Okay, and in the Christian faith, I'm sure they have the same thing. But this resonates with me personally because I'm Jewish and I know this, and it's part of my psyche, okay? And anytime I sin against somebody, which is a moral failing, okay, I acknowledge it, I feel remorse, and I vow to do better. And President Trump here does the exact same thing. And the difference between President Trump's apology about this and the Democrat candidates who apologized for the things they've said and done in the past. Okay, when on our side, when we see Democrat candidate apologizing, we might laugh about, it's an apology tour, but that's the extent of it. We said, okay, he apologized. You know, it doesn't affect us any. The Democrats, on the other hand, they applaud. I remember this one candidate who stood up and apologized. And it was responded by round of applause. So basically, they're forgiving the candidate for the sin that he committed or she committed. when Trump apologized for his sins, okay, it was public like this, and even though there was no instant response that can be represented on the tape, all his supporters and all his voters forgave him. Democrats, on the other hand, did not. And that is the difference. Because you could still hear a few Democrats still crying about his pussy remark. You know. So apparently that person didn't forgive this apology. And several others. So I will play for you now this apology that President Trump gave to the country.
I've never said I'm a perfect person, nor pretended to be someone that I'm not. I've said and done things I regret, and the words released today on this more than a decade-old video are one of them. Anyone who knows me knows these words don't reflect who I am. I said it, I was wrong, and I apologize. I've traveled the country talking about change for America, but my travels have also changed me. I've spent time with grieving mothers who've lost their children, laid-off workers whose jobs have gone to other countries, and people from all walks of life who just want a better future. I have gotten to know the great people of our country, and I've been humbled by the faith they placed in me. I pledge to be a better man tomorrow and will never, ever let you down.
Okay. Hear that? This is an apology. It has all the elements of true atonement. He acknowledged the sin he committed. He admitted it was wrong. He felt remorse. He apologized. And he vowed to be better in the future. This is by the book Atonement by the Book. Okay, this is Jewish atonement by the book, which I'm sure applies to other people. Christians and non-Christians alike, okay, to atheists and so forth, okay. You acknowledged your sin, you acknowledged the bad you did, you feel bad for it, and then you commit to be better. And this is what President Trump was saying.
I've never said I'm a perfect person.
See that? I've never said I'm a perfect person. And that is what, for some reason, the press and the Democrats claim he is. He's this perfect person that does not make mistakes. None of us are perfect. Matter of fact, that don't make mistakes. Now, there's a Christian and a Jewish definition of perfection. Okay, now, if I'm wrong, please leave a comment. And please tell me where I'm wrong. I invite you if I'm wrong. But my understanding of the Christian faith is perfection, like Jesus, is to never make a mistake. Okay? And even in the Jewish tradition, God even made a mistake after the flood. It's right there in the text that God made a mistake in causing the flood, and he vowed never to do it again. Now, where have you ever heard God apologize for a moral failing, a sin that God committed? Where God acknowledged the sin he committed by causing the flood to wipe out the corruption by causing the flood, and then apologize for it, say, never again will I do this again. So, we don't ever say we're perfect. That's the Christian definition of perfect. The Jewish definition of perfect, okay, is to always acknowledge and take responsibility for any failings we do. Always, without fail. It's not that we never make mistakes, but we never blame anyone or anything else for sins or wrongs we commit. Never, ever, ever. We always own our mistakes. Always. Without fail. Whenever when any one of us makes a mistake, we always acknowledge the mistake. We always be accountable for that mistake. We always assert, yes, I made a mistake and I'm going to do better. That is perfection. Perfection for the Jew is to always take responsibility for doing wrong and never, ever, ever lay the blame on someone or something else out. Ever. To always. That is perfection in the Jewish tradition. So, that said, okay, perfection. That's why I'm bringing this up. He said, I never said I'm a perfect person. Now, President Trump is a Christian.
I've never said I'm a perfect person, nor pretended to be someone that I'm not.
There you go. There's something else, too. And this is something else that I do. I never represent myself as somebody other than myself. I met many people who just put on this false facade until I got to know them, and they ended up abusing me and mistreating me and taking advantage of me. Because once I got to know them, and once I felt comfortable with them, they put down their mask, they put down their facade, and I got to see the real person. And it was an ugly person that I got to know. Ugly in terms of personality, character, behavior, morals, attitudes. So, I'm always myself. And this is what Trump says. Now, politicians, on the other hand, this, I think, is why the left hates him so much. Because he doesn't misrepresent himself. And this is why they always say he lies. Okay, if now somebody said to me, President Trump made 3,742 lies. I was like, really? And I bet you counted every one of them, huh? I'm sure you have a list somewhere. Which is lie 300? Which is lie 421? I mean, really, come on. You know, I was like, oh, come on, you don't even believe that. I mean, that's the most absurd thing you've ever done. You know, because politicians, this is why they hate him, because he's not a politician. He's a businessman, like my dad was. Okay? And he's running the country like a business, which kind of it is. But he also has a good public relations skill in which he's able to negotiate, got to meet people, listen to people. Sometimes he can be stubborn, I know that. But does that make him evil, corrupt, dangerous, like they're saying? No. No, it just means he's a human being with flaws. Hello? You know, everybody's got flaws. So that's another reason why they hate him, because he's not a politician. He is himself.
I've said and done things I regret, and the words released today on this more than a decade-old video are one of them.
Done and said things I regret. Now, are you going to vilify the man because of that? Really? If you lower the bar that low, then, man, everybody would be guilty of lying. And here's another thing about lying, okay? Juan keeps bringing up the wall. He lied about the wall because where is the wall? First of all, You can't just snap your fingers like Samantha on Bewitched and the wall will be there in 2 seconds later. Okay, a wall takes time to get built. Also, President Trump has been stonewalled time and time again by the Democrats in Congress. So when Juan says, "Where's the wall?" I said, well, if Democrats cooperated with President Trump, most of the wall would be built by now. So he has to take the long road around to get it done. He's getting it done, but it's taking slower than it would be otherwise because the Democrats have been putting roadblock after roadblock after roadblock after roadblock, keeping him, but he still pushes through. So it's taking slower than usual. It's taking slower than it would be otherwise. So he says, he's lying because where's the wall? Now, again, if you lower the bar that low about a promise, and that's another thing, they're saying if you make a promise and you don't keep it, you lied. Now, as I said, if you're going to lower the bar that low about promises and not keeping promises, or promises and failing to keep it, whether it's intentional or unintentional, or unforeseen circumstances preventing you from following through with your promise, and calling you a liar because of it, man, almost every human being on earth, and we talk about billions and billions of people, would be guilty of lying. And to borrow a verse from the Christian New Testament, where Jesus or somebody said, "He who is without sin, let him cast the first stone." And then nobody did a thing. They all dropped their stones. And that is what I'm talking about. You have to keep the bar high, not low. Because otherwise, you're pushing the bar very low, and then anybody who makes a promise and fails to keep it will be accused of lying. So, again, I'll repeat this one more time.
I've never said I'm a perfect person, nor pretended to be someone that I'm not. I've said and done things I regret, and the words released today on this more than a decade-old video are one of them.
And I've done and said things, oh my God, that I regret. I regret ever smoking. I regret not pursuing an upgrade when I was working in the bank. I regret not pursuing video recording engineer to another studio using VH1 as on my resume, and that could have been my career. You know, I regret so many things. I regret walking out of that audition for voiceovers when I went in there so cocky and said, "Well, is there an announcer or narrator in there?" They said no. I said, "Oh, then I'm not interested," and I walked out. Man, that was so stupid, and I regret that. That was a huge mistake I did. I made so many mistakes. So many. I am the king of regrets. Man, if I had a penny for every regret and every bad decision I made, man, I'd be a millionaire. I swear to God, I'd be a millionaire. So, regret. He made mistakes. I made mistakes. We all made mistakes. And he's acknowledging the mistake he made.
I've never said I'm a perfect person, nor pretended to be someone that I'm not. I've said and done things I regret, and the words released today on this more than a decade-old video are one of them. Anyone who knows me knows these words don't reflect who I am. I said it, I was wrong, and I apologize.
I said it, I was wrong, and I apologize. Democrats say, Oh, we don't accept your apology. His voters, on the other hand, say, Mr. Trump, we accept your apology. We forgive you.
I've traveled the country talking about change for America, but my travels have also changed me.
And that's something that's happened to me too. I'm not the same person I was years ago. Man, I tell you, the way I treated my best friend Gus, man, I tell you, I hated the word blood clot and blood. I hated those words. And it wasn't until years later that I understood them. And I was like, I understand what he meant by them. So I became a changed man after really taking it all in. I used to just almost, oh man, I mean, some of the things oh man, oh God, some of the things I used to do, man, I was immature then. Even though I was mature for my age, I mean, there were some areas where I was still immature. And in all my travels and the people that I met over the years, things I've done, that's changed me too. If you met me, 30, 40 years ago, you would see a totally different Jim Lifton. Hell, you'd see a Jimmy Lifton is what you'd see. And Jimmy Lifton is a different person than Jim Lifton. And when a beloved friend of ours told me, I'm not going to call you Jimmy, I'm going to call you Jim. Because you call yourself Jimmy, people are not going to take you seriously. To me, you are a Jim. That is a proud name. That's a very handsome name, Jim. Be proud of it. You're not a Jimmy. I said, yeah, what about Jimmy Durante, Jimmy Connors, Jimmy Carter, Jimmy Walker, Jimmy Stewart. That was always my argument. But you know what? Yeah, Mr. Stewart was also called James Stewart too. And James, to me, is too formal. But when my friend talked to me and said, but this is what she said, you call yourself Jimmy and people will not take you seriously and they won't respect you. When she said that got me thinking. So, I met people over the years, and the things I've done, the places I've gone, my encounters with others, many have changed me to a different person than I was 10, 20 years ago. So I empathize with President Trump. I know what he's talking about. And
I've spent time with grieving mothers who've lost their children, laid off workers whose jobs have gone to other countries, and people from all walks of life who just want a better future. I have gotten to know the great people of our country, and I've been humbled by the faith they placed in me.
And I've been humbled by friendships. And friendships I've had over the years, staff members I encountered and met, coworkers. Yeah. All of that had a lasting impact on me.
I pledge to be a better man tomorrow.
I pledge to be a better man tomorrow.
And will never, ever let you down.
Now, that's a commitment.
Will never, ever let you down. Placed in me. I pledge to be a better man tomorrow and will never, ever let you down.
And that is the kind of man Donald Trump is. Like myself, always on a never-ending quest for self-improvement.
Let's be honest. We're living in the real world. This is nothing more than a distraction from the important issues we're facing today. We're losing our jobs, we're less safe than we were 8 years ago, and Washington is totally broken. Hillary Clinton and her kind have run our country into the ground. I've said some foolish things, but there's a big difference between the words and actions of other people. Bill Clinton has actually abused women, and Hillary has bullied, attacked, shamed, and intimidated his victims. We will discuss this more in the coming days. See you at the debate on Sunday.
Speed freaks do everything, all at once, whenever they want. Speed freaks.
Okay, so let's go over this again. Donald Trump is apologizing for the things he said.
I've never said I'm a perfect person, nor pretended to be someone that I'm not. I've said and done things I regret, and the words released today on this more than a decade-old video are one of them. Anyone who knows me knows these words don't reflect who I am. I said it, I was wrong, and I apologize. I've traveled the country talking about change for America, but my travels have also changed me. I've spent time with grieving mothers who've lost their children, laid-off workers whose jobs have gone to other countries, and people from all walks of life who just want a better future. I have gotten to know the great people of our country, and I've been humbled by the faith they placed in me. I pledge to be a better man tomorrow and will never, ever let you down.
Now, here's something else to consider. Okay? It seems to me that the Democrats and the media think that that Donald Trump is playing a game with the country, or think he's in a kid in a candy store and run amok. Okay, he's been a businessman for many, many years. I mean, if you think about it, do you honestly believe, after so many years of being in the spotlight, and that's another thing, you are under the scrutiny, my friend. I could never, ever, ever be president of the United States. I could. I'm eligible, maybe. I could. Hell, JFK, no. Roosevelt was handicapped, so, hey, that's not a hindrance, okay? So anybody can be president, anybody. But the presidency, I could be president, but you know what? I don't want the job. I don't want the job because I'm the son of an owner of a business I'm the son of the owner of a business. And the incredible, immense stress and responsibility of the job, I could not handle that. I could not handle that. You, as president, are representing the country. This is not a game, Democrats. This is not a game, media. President Trump, Donald Trump, is not playing games here. Okay? This is not selfish. I've heard of remarks about personal motives, vanity project. You know, I mean, really. Donald Trump is not playing games with our country. I mean, do you really honestly think that? That he thinks this is a game and he's just going to be a kid in a candy store? I mean, really? You know, or he's power hungry. You know what, Democrats? I think you're projecting. That's what I think. That's my opinion. I think you Democrats are projecting. You're power hungry, not President Trump. And I've watched a lot of Steve Wilkos. Oh, she cheated on me. She cheated. and he's pointing the finger loudly. She cheated on me. And then they take a lie detector test. She passed the test. He took it. He failed. So the one shouting the loudest is the one who's really doing the dirty deed. So remember that. Okay, this is not a game. When I was doing the VH1 project, and my dad put the faith in me, just like President Trump said that he was humbled by the faith that the American people have in him. I felt humbled by my dad putting the faith in me that I, representing Regent Sound Studios, working closely with not only VH1, but Don Imus, Scott Shannon, Frankie Crocker, John Bowser Bauman. I'm representing Regent Sound Studios to MTV. I must be at my very best. I cannot be unprofessional. I cannot be childish, because that doesn't look good. That doesn't make Regent look good. When I went into Food Emporium, downtown New Rochelle, and the cashier was like a robot, did not smile, did not say hi, did not say thank you, did not say, very robotic. I said, oh man, I don't like being in this store. I'll never come here again. And that's when I decided, when I become a cashier, I will greet every customer with a smile. Hi, how you doing? Thank you for choosing our store. Stuff like that. But I tell you, management didn't like it one bit. When customers always came to my register, when there were like 5 registers open and everybody wanted to come on to my register, and the manager went up to one of my favorite customers, he said to her, there's other registers open, why don't you go there? She said, thank you, but I want Jimmy to check me out. I mean, I looked up and I saw the look on his face. Man, I bet you he was thinking all kinds of bad things. What is he doing? Is he doing something underhandedly? He didn't like that. I think he didn't like being embarrassed by one of the customers. When you represent your business, when you're a representative of your business, you must be at your very best. You want to be inviting. You want people to, want to come to you. And that's what President Trump is doing. And, and that's why when a possible scandal broke out, that could have broken out with VH1, my dad says, I'm sorry, I must have pulled you off the project. Because if I don't, man, this is going to go viral. This is going to ruin Regent South Studios' reputation, me as an engineer, and my status in the industry. I must let you go off the project and train somebody else. That's all this is about, representing whatever you're representing. My dad represented Regent Sound. To other members of the industry, I was only representative to MTV and VH1. So I was representing Bob Lifton and Regent South Studios to MTV and VH1. So I had an incredible responsibility to be professional and to be at my best. Even though I love what I'm doing, I never treat it like a game. Life is never a game. Okay? You have an incredible responsibility when you're representing somebody. So when President Trump said he was humbled by the faith America's placed in him, I was humbled with the faith my dad placed in me.
The great people of our country, and I've been humbled by the faith they placed in me. I pledge to be a better man tomorrow and will never, ever let you down.
And that's his pledge. That was his pledge. I pledge to be a better man tomorrow. I will always be my best, and I will try to be my best. And that's his apology. And we voters accepted his apology and forgave him. And that was the end of the issue. As far as we were concerned, Donald Trump acknowledged it, said it was stupid, it was bad, it doesn't represent him, I'm not that man anymore, and I will be a better man tomorrow, and I promise you that. I'm humble that you put faith in me, and I'll never let you down. I'll never make you regret voting for me like he regretted decisions he made, like I regret, oh my God, like I regret many bad decisions I made in my life. Okay. So anyway, that's basically what I wanted to say. And I hope I make a difference. And this is really the reason why I'm making these videos. Now that President Trump is working hard to for his reelection, I can't. If he visited, if he scheduled a rally in Indiana, Fort Wayne, I can't go. I can't go. And I would get these surveys about helping out, and I can't do it. I physically can't do it. And I want to make a difference. And now that he's fighting for re-election, and I can't attend one of his rallies, I want to do something for him. He has done so much for this country, and I support him, hands down. And I want to do something really important for him and for his reelection, because I love what he's doing for our country. This is, when I experience everything around Trump, I couldn't be more proud. I wasn't sure if I was making the right decision when I voted for Trump back in 2016. Now I know I did make the right decision. And now I have no doubt. That's why I said I just hope he's a good president. I'll give him a chance. Don't you always give people chances? I mean, there's some people that, say, no, I don't trust you. Yeah. And then there are other, like he says, what do you got to lose? What do you got to lose? Give the man a chance. So, anyway, that's all I want to do. I want to make a difference. And I want to help him. I want to help our president against all the bad press he's been getting. And it's very sad. Very, very sad. So, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening in. I'll see you later. Take care. See you soon. Bye.